Breaking news for UK pensioners and savers. Imagine this tomorrow morning. You walk into your local bank branch, the same branch you've trusted for decades. You've stood at that counter hundreds of times before, withdrawn your savings without issue, managed your affairs with dignity. But today, something is different. The teller looks at you and calmly tells you, "Sorry, you can't withdraw that amount. You're limited to just £50 per day." You blink in disbelief. "But this is my money," you reply. The answer? Yes, but it's policy now. We're protecting you. Let that sink in. Protecting you by stopping you from accessing your own hard-earned cash. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not fiction. This is happening right now across the United Kingdom. Pensioners, men and women who built this country, who worked hard, who saved diligently, are being told they cannot access their own savings freely. Banks are quietly imposing new withdrawal limits, and those most affected are people over the age of 65. The implications are not just financial, they're social, personal, and deeply troubling. Welcome to Pensioners Power, your trusted source for everything you need to know about pensions, retirement planning, and financial wellness. Here, we cover the latest news, expert insights, and essential updates to help you maximize your retirement years. Whether it's understanding pension schemes, making the most of your savings, or staying informed about financial changes, you're in the right place. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an important update. Now, let's jump right into today's topic. Across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, reports are piling up. Barclays, NatWest, Halifax, Lloyds household names. The so-called trusted banks are now limiting daily cash withdrawals for pensioners. In some areas, limits are set as low as £50 per day. Think about that. For someone living on the state pension currently just over £220 a week, £50 is barely enough to cover one grocery shop, let alone bills, transport, or unexpected expenses. Banks argue this is about fraud prevention, that scams targeting the elderly are on the rise. And yes, it's true that fraudsters prey on pensioners. The statistics are alarming. But let's be clear, placing blanket restrictions on every pensioner is not protection. It's punishment. Take the case of Margaret Thompson, 82, from Cardiff. She tried to withdraw £300 for her grandson's birthday party, a sum she had carefully saved. But the teller said no. You can only take £50 per day. That meant 6 separate trips to the bank. 6 trips, at her age, using public transport. 6 days of inconvenience and indignity just to access her own savings. Or consider John Mitchell, a retired coal miner from Newcastle. He went to withdraw £200 to pay his gas bill in cash. He doesn't trust direct debits after a past mistake cost him dearly. The teller refused. John left the bank humiliated, his bill unpaid. These are not isolated incidents. They are spreading quietly across the UK. Why are these restrictions being rolled out now? Inflation is eating away at savings. Food, fuel, and heating costs have soared. Pensioners are already struggling to make ends meet, some choosing between heating and eating. And now, at the height of a cost of living crisis, banks decide to tighten access to cash. Is it really about fraud prevention? Or is it about something much bigger? Critics argue this is part of a coordinated push towards a cashless society. A society where every transaction is digital, traceable, and controlled. And pensioners, the group most dependent on cash, are the first casualties. Here's the danger. Once banks set a precedent, it becomes a slippery slope. Today, £50 withdrawal limits. Tomorrow, £25. The day after, no cash withdrawals at all. Instead, you'll be told to use online banking, smartphone apps, or contactless cards. But here's the truth. Millions of pensioners don't own smartphones. Millions more can't navigate complex online systems. Are we really prepared to exclude an entire generation from participating in the economy? Cash is more than money. It is independence. It is dignity. For decades, pensioners have relied on cash to budget. Envelopes marked food, gas, rent. Systems that work. Systems that give them control. Take away cash, and you take away control. Think of the grandfather who likes to slip a £20 note to his grandchild. That simple, loving gesture wiped out by banking policy. Think of the elderly widow who puts a fiver in the church collection every Sunday. Gone if banks decide that cash is no longer safe. This isn't just about numbers. This is about lives, traditions, and social bonds being quietly dismantled. Banks say they're protecting customers. But let's look closer. Behind the scenes, digital transactions are big business. Every card swipe, every online payment generates data that can be sold, tracked, and monetized. Cash, on the other hand, leaves no trail. The less you use cash, the more power banks have. They control not just your money, but your spending habits, your choices, your life. And with algorithms making decisions, things get even worse. Banks brag about fraud detection systems, but ask pensioners who've been declined at the supermarket till when buying groceries, flagged as suspicious. Ask those who've had their cards frozen for withdrawing too much cash, even though it was their own money. Algorithms don't understand humanity. They don't care if you need to pay rent, buy medicine, or help your family. They care about one thing: rules. And those rules are written by banks, not by you. Legally, banks are required to provide reasonable access to your funds. But here's the trick: what counts as reasonable is increasingly being defined by the banks themselves. Is £50 a day reasonable? They say yes. Pensioners say no. And without legal clarity, pensioners are left vulnerable at the mercy of corporate policy rather than protected by law. So what can you do to protect yourself? Know your rights. If a bank restricts your withdrawals, ask for a written explanation. Challenge it. Document everything. Spread your risk. Don't rely on just one bank. Keep small accounts with different institutions. If one restricts you, you have a backup. Make formal complaints. If restrictions affect your ability to live, complain to the bank, then escalate to the financial ombudsman. Every complaint adds pressure. Contact your MP. Politicians respond when enough constituents raise their voice. Demand clarity on cash access laws. Stay informed. Knowledge is power. That's why channels like this exist to keep you ahead of the curve. The truth is, we're at a crossroads. Path 1. We allow banks to continue unchecked. Limits tighten, cash disappears, and pensioners are left behind. Financial freedom becomes a privilege, not a right. Path 2. We push back. Pensioners, families, and citizens demand protection for cash, demand clear legal rights, and ensure that access to your own money remains non-negotiable. The choice is ours. Thank you for watching Pensioners Power. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you in the next video with more insights on the issues that affect the UK. Take care, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for all the latest updates.